Ayy, look, yeah, ayy. I'm in the lab like Dexter, brand new batch he tested. I'm with all the extras, don't try and bitch, I'm pressure. I'm the type to step on steppers, I'm the type to step on steppers, I'm the type to step on steppers, I'm the type to step on steppers.
And from all that, let's go ahead and move on to our first overreaction and not an overreaction segment of the year. Probably something we're going to do every 3, 4, 5 weeks, just to kind of get a feel for everything. And statement number one that I'll start with is the Buffalo Bills are still the team to beat in the AFC East.
Not an overreaction at all. They're the big dogs in this, man. You just seen what they did to the Dolphins. This is not an overreaction whatsoever in any capacity. They just they told Tua like, yo, like you cool and all, but come on, man, it's Josh Allen. This is elite quarterback play. This is how you get it done. They're still the big dogs. I mean, the Jets, they're not a threat at all. Let's be honest. Same thing with the Patriots, with Mac Jones and that entire offense. And the Dolphins' offense is explosive and whatnot, but this Bills team, front to back, like the entire roster, I mean, they got it, man. They're still the big dogs in this. I don't think it's an overreaction whatsoever.
Yeah, not an overreaction whatsoever. Josh Allen showed Tua like what it's like to be a man in a division rival game, what it's like to show the world like, yo, we here, we still top dogs. That's what he did. Hey, dude don't got a chance against that. Like, until he shows me that he can, drop a 35-point win over Josh Allen and dominate where it's like it's not even fair, then yeah, I'll give him a chance, but not an overreaction. The Bills still the best team in the AFC East. They're gonna win the division, and they most likely gonna make another deep playoff one. So, yeah.
Can't wait to revisit this conversation. I'm going with overreaction. I think the Miami Dolphins, what they put on display this past week against the Buffalo Bills, it's not really them. That's not really how they play. That's not their identity. Of course, every division game is going to be tough. And Buffalo did what they were supposed to do. They were playing on their home turf, and Josh Allen had himself a phenomenal day. He's been red hot these last couple of weeks. He's been pretty much phenomenal. He's been the best quarterback these last couple of weeks as well. And so I think the Miami Dolphins, they'll end up beating them in their second matchup later on in this season. I mean, they're gonna split the series, and so I think what's really gonna decide, who's the best team in the AFC East is a matchup in the playoffs where the Buffalo Bills are healthy, where the Miami Dolphins are healthy. It doesn't matter where the game is played because when it's the playoffs, every game counts, every game's important, every game is huge, and so that's gonna be all money in, no money out. And I'll take the Miami Dolphins any day. With their offensive, with their explosive offense than the Buffalo Bills, even though the Buffalo Bills have been looking red hot. But next statement, CJ Stroud should have been the first pick in the 2023 NFL draft.
I think this is an overreaction. I think it's kind of unfair to Bryce Young, and I'm saying this as a CJ Stroud fan. I think when we look at this, look at Bryce Young's offensive situation. His number one wide receiver is a 33-year-old Adam Thielen. He has Jonathan Mingo, Laviska Shenault, Hayden Hurst. I mean, none of those guys are elite separators. They're not speed guys. They're all practically, outside of Adam Thielen, just big body wide receivers. They have Terrence Marshall. You add on top of the fact that they have no speed whatsoever in terms of their wide receivers. Bryce Young is dealing with a terrible offensive line play. Like, one of his guards is literally one of the worst in the entire NFL as it stands. Consistent pressure in his face. I mean, the Vikings, like, just for example, this game against the Vikings, it's a classic example. They were in Bryce's face a lot. Brian Flores, of course, we know he likes to blitz, but they were in Bryce Young's face a lot because of the pressure. At the same time as well, the offensive play calling hasn't been any sort of bit great. What makes Bryce Young special is his ability to improvise, his ability to kind of just get out the pocket, find guys down the field, make plays, big time plays to his wide receivers, and he hasn't been able to do that because, one, the play calling hasn't been there. Everything's underneath. It's short. Why are you throwing screens to Adam Thielen? What? Where is Adam Thielen gonna go if you throw a screen to him? Terrence Marshall's terrible. I don't know why he keeps getting these screenplays. At least try them to Laviska Shenault. Like, these offensive play calling from Frank Reich has just been like abysmal. It's just unfair. Like, I feel like Bryce Young has been set up in this team. I had my question marks about Bryce Young's overall ceiling, But that doesn't change anything about his ability to process the field and be able to improvise. I think he can still do that at a high level, and he hasn't been even given a chance. So I think this is a complete overreaction.
One, they can't play him under pocket. Tell me one quarterback right now in the league that is in shotgun every single possession. Why? Because he cannot be under pocket. They cannot run any type of plays under pocket because he's a midget and he cannot run any type
That
of
is not true at all. That's not true at
They
all.
have not.
And if anything, that's BS.
That's
a lie. That's a complete lie.
And 90%
And it's not because of his. You know what's crazy? That's literally the biggest lie.
He's in shotgun formation.
Bryce Young, bro, what people don't understand is Bryce Young is not like Kyler Murray in the sense of Bryce Young can target the middle of the field. Bryce Young hits the middle of the field as well as any quarterback. I am telling you.
He can do that. I'm not taking that away from him. I'm just saying.
He can hit the middle of the field. Why can't we just admit it's not about Bryce Young's height? It's about the play calling. The play calling's terrible.
I wouldn't.
Why are they calling screens?
I would say it's a 50-50 between his height and the capability of him playing under pocket to the play calling. Yes, it is.
It has nothing to do with his height. It has nothing to do with his height.
Yeah,
plus I don't get why I don't get why being under center is a problem.
We're comparing it to Kyler Murray, right? Another guy that can make plays out of the pocket, that can use his legs. Bryce Young can't do that either.
Kyler Murray can't target the middle of the field like Bryce Young.
He can't target the middle of the field, but he can make plays out of the pocket.
Kyler Murray doesn't keep his eyes.
Bryce Young is in the pocket every single possession. When it breaks down,
he's not given a chance. He's not given a chance.
But he got to make a chance himself. You can't just.
What do you mean give it a chance? He's not. Did you not see that play? Did you see the play where he was pissed, right? He was pissed. There was literally a play where they called on a third. I think it was a 3rd and 10. They called the screen play. This guy was red hot. He's like, what the
horrible play call. But at the same time, there's a lot of other plays that come from him that are mistakes.
No.
There's a lot of other plays where he's standing in the pocket 5-6 seconds.
The only criticism,
not making a play out of his pocket, and then he crumbles down. He doesn't get touched. He just drops. The only
criticism that I have against Bryce Young that so far I don't think has been translated is his ability to kind of evade pressure. At Alabama, he did a great job of when guys were coming to sack him. He was able to kind of duck and avoid pressure. He hasn't been able to kind of just evade pressure like that gets in his face.
Trying to run the field with the best players in the game. They have everybody in Bama.
No, come on, man. That's if anything, that's CJ Stroud. What? CJ Stroud has the best.
Ohio State as well, of course. Yeah, he has
CJ Stroud had the best wide receivers known to man.
No, I'm just saying in general, those two teams are obviously
like Bryce
levels ahead of field. Well, but now both of them are coming down to teams where they're getting drafted that didn't do phenomenal.
But the thing is, the difference between the two is that the Texans identify what CJ Stroud's his ability is. They understand what he's good at and his strengths. What they're seeing is this. CJ Stroud is a strictly pocket passer. That's why he loves being in the pocket. Bryce Young's ability is to get out the pocket and keep his eyes up and make plays to guys. He's able to find guys in the middle of the field. He's able to look up and he's able to find. That's what makes Bryce Young special. He can process the field extremely well. CJ Stroud loves being in the pocket. So what are the Texans doing? They're like, okay, we have Nico Collins, we have Tank Dell, and they're passing offensive coordinator. They're like, let's just hit quick passes. And these guys, I didn't expect the Texans to be this pass heavy, and they've been crazy pass heavy. I think CJ Stroud's 3rd in the league in passing yards or something, or at least I know he's top 5 for sure. So they've been exactly. So they understand. Okay, let's get this guy the ball and let's just make him pass quick passes. Let's build around his strength. Same thing with Anthony Richardson over there at the Colts. They're putting designed run plays. They're putting him in a position where he's able to use his legs, where he's able to make big time throws. Bryce Young hasn't had the opportunity at all. I think it's too early in the season to say that. Like, we haven't been able to put context into how much he's struggling.
For all rookies, regardless of it, I'm not going to judge him just off of 3-4 games coming.
Yeah, but saying CJ Stroud should have been the number 1 pick based off this.
But you know, even before the draft, I had CJ Stroud.
My thing is this. I'm saying is if you're saying CJ Stroud should have been the number 1 before even the season started, that's one thing. That's fair enough. But if you're saying based off how the season is going off so far, yes, CJ Stroud, that's just confirmation bias. That's not fair. You're just saying, well, look at this. You're saying, look at how CJ Stroud's playing. This is why he should have been the number 1 pick. You should have been saying he's the number 1 pick before the season even went in. You get what I mean? So I don't think my problem isn't about what you're saying. It's about what people are saying. Oh, look at CJ Stroud, how he's playing. This is why he should have been the number 1 pick. I just think that's not
that's
fair.
the thing, though. People see the Texans, before coming into the season, they really didn't believe this team was going to come into the season like this and be that pass heavy and that, they're 10 toes on defense. They're playing phenomenal. And that's due to their coach. But offensively, CJ Stroud just stepped in like he's one of the star quarterbacks.
And this isn't
I feel like
take credit from him at all. CJ Stroud's been
yeah,
playing great.
it don't take
He's
nothing
playing
from him, you know, for me. But it's just like him being comfortable, just walking into the situation like he was prep ready already. He's been in the league 3 to 4 years. It looks perfect for him, and I feel like he's just gonna build onto this, and it's perfect. You know, for him coming into this to this type of offense, to this type of pass offense, and him getting the trust that he needs from the coach. I just feel like he was much prepared for this. So for me, I always want to see CJ Stroud run. For me, I'm still saying that he's gonna go one, but I'm gonna give Bryce Young some time. But you can't forget about Anthony Richardson. That man a dog.
I'm not letting you get off easy like that, Big H. Dude, there's a question at hand that needs to be answered. Not an overreaction or overreaction. I need to know. I understand you said CJ Stroud is your guy, and he should have went number one regardless before the season started. Now, after 4 weeks of football, should he have gone number one in the 2023 NFL draft?
CJ Stroud?
Yeah, overreaction or not overreaction based on what you've seen through the first 4 weeks of the NFL season?
Not an overreaction. He should have won one.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you though. I do believe this is not an overreaction though, and it's no knock on Bryce Young. I believe the situation, the environment matters when it comes to rookie quarterbacks. You can't expect the rookie quarterback, although he's a top draft pick, top 5, top 2, number 1. You can't expect guys to just come in and uplift the franchise from day one. And of course, we're seeing struggles from Bryce Young in Carolina, where the design play calls just aren't what Bryce Young is used to, what he's comfortable with. And so there's a lot of growing pains right now coming out of Carolina. And what hurts them the most is the fact that they just don't own their number 1 overall pick. And the thing what is kind of stupid about the Carolina Panthers is the fact that they're in the market right now for a wide receiver 1. I'm hearing reports
probably burns them seeing DJ Moore, man.
Yeah, it's like they're in the market right now looking for a wide receiver 1. They're trying to get T. Higgins reportedly, but they already had a wide receiver 1 in DJ Moore, and unfortunately, they had to add him into the trade to go get a guy like Bryce Young. And so, I know they're kicking themselves in the foot right now and shooting themselves in the foot just based on the fact that DJ Moore is a true wide receiver 1 in this league. He just needed a better quarterback play. So, we'll never know how good of a quarterback Bryce Young, it could have been, these first 4 weeks if he had a wide receiver 1 with DJ Moore. But to get back to CJ Stroud, man, I think he's been absolutely phenomenal. He's definitely the best rookie quarterback right now. I'm an Anthony Richardson guy, and I think Anthony Richardson is definitely a close second. But at the end of the day, man, this guy just looks so comfortable in the pocket, and there's not a throw that he doesn't like. There's not a throw that he can't make. And I feel like we can kind of compare both of the wide receiver cores. Carolina's wide receiver core is a little bit worse than the Houston Texans, but coming into this season, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, we weren't expecting those guys to kind of just pop off and do what they're doing right now. I think we have to give a lot of the credit to CJ Stroud and what he's doing with his receiving core, with his options, just understanding that these are the guys that he has to roll with each and every week. He's rolling in with these guys, and he's going to make it work. He said he wants Texas fans to rep Texas with pride, the same way they do when they're out there on the field. And so, it's been an absolute phenomenal start, for CJ Stroud start off the season. So I personally believe it's not an overreaction so far, but things could get better for Bryce Young. If things end up getting better for Bryce Young and they're on the equal level playing field, then we're probably going to have to revisit this conversation. But 4 weeks into the season so far, Bryce Young has had his struggles. Some of it is his fault and some of it is not his fault. And right now they just kind of have to find a nice little balance in between him and the head coach kind of having a better, understanding of one another. That's really all it is right now. They're just not on the same page, and it's been a huge problem. And so aside from all that, let's go ahead and move on to our next statement. Mike Tomlin should be on the coach's hot seat.
Overreaction. I think he has too much credit in the bank to be on the hot seat. I think, the biggest, I think people should be looking more at Matt Canada, their OC. I mean, I've always been critical about him, but this team, this offense should be performing way better. It seems like, I think having 300 yards of passing offense was basically impossible for this team. I think they've only had it once in the last 2 years or something like that.
It was 400 yards.
Yeah, or for 400 total yards of offense. For this team, this team hasn't been able to produce much on offense. Their offensive line play hasn't been great. Najee Harris hasn't been exactly what they needed for him to be. Kenny Pickett, he got injured, but his play has been kind of up and down. Like, I think Mike Tomlin won't be on the hot seat, but it seems like the Steelers kind of go through this exact same cycle every single year. And I don't know at what point they're going to start to break it. It's like the first 5 weeks they look terrible. The next 4 weeks after that, they start to look better. Then they end the season on like a really strong stretch. They go 500, leaves fans happy, rinse and repeat the next year. They do it every single time. And I feel like that kind of just leaves the fans in a position where they're like, well, he is getting us to 500, but how much is our ceiling kind of capped with this team as him with him as a head coach? So, I think depending on how the season, this might be the season where his streak kind of breaks. I think then that's when people start to look at him to be on the hot seat.
I think this is an overreaction. I really truly believe the problem is Matt Canada. I feel like, he's really not opening up the offense the way they needed to. I feel like we talked about this issue many times. I know, in the Steelers franchise, it's always the next guy up. And he was the quarterback's coach when, Big Ben was playing. And Tomlin's all about loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. He's always been preached about that. And he promoted Matt Canada to offensive coordinator, quarterback's coach. I don't think that was a great move that he made, but it's time that he kind of, says, hey, it's time to go. You got to get fired. They got to get a different look at offense. They got some players on that offense that they can utilize. They got, Deontay Johnson. They got Pickens. They got Pat Fryermuth. And you got Najee. And, Kenny Pickett's an okay quarterback, but we really haven't seen them open up the offense these last 2 years. We've seen them scrape by, get W's. We've seen them get W's winning 13-10 or 16-13. It's very close games, but it's not high-scoring games for them, So for me, I don't think Tomlin should be fired, man. This guy, he has won in Pittsburgh before. We've seen him win, Super Bowls, and we've seen him win playoff games. I feel like, he got money in the bank for him to stay on that team, and it's time for him to let Matt Canada go, fix up the offense. He might have something working. They have a phenomenal defense, but when your offense is always off the field, your defense is going to get tired, and it's contagious. One side of the ball's not doing good, it's going to get affected on the other side, and it did show last week against the Texans. That defense got torched. And they got some big-time players on there, and I feel like it's just the side effect on how the offense is doing it, just moving along to the defense. So right now, you got to fix the problem sooner than later. And if this continues on, it's going to be, bad on both sides of the ball. So he got to go get a new OC, and we'll see what happens with that offense. They got some young stars there.
I'm going to go with not an overreaction, but here's what I'm thinking. I understand Mike Tomlin and his track record as a Steelers head coach, not a season below 500. He's been a very, very successful coach during his tenure, with the Steelers franchise. But at the same time, each and every week, each and every year, it's been kind of like the same story. Mike Tomlin will always coach these guys into having an elite defense. Their defense has never been an issue in recent years. They'll always have an elite defense. Mike Tomlin does a great job at getting those guys right on that side of the ball. The offensive issues, you guys highlight Matt Canada, and of course, we understand. I understand that. We're going to all sound like a broken record when we talk about him. But Mike Tomlin has an issue vouching for a guy like Matt Canada. Coming out of last week when they got absolutely demolished by the Houston Texans, once again, Mike Tomlin came into the presser, to the post-game presser, and said, Matt, I still have faith in Matt Canada. Obviously, we have some issues that need to be fixed. And that those issues will be fixed. But if everybody in the world knows that Matt Canada is the issue, then that only should open up Mike Tomlin's eyes a lot more. I don't understand what Mike Tomlin sees in Matt Canada to continue to keep him as the offensive coordinator of this team. These guys haven't won a playoff game since 2016. Matt Canada has been on this team for 4 years now. He started off as a quarterback's coach, promoted to offensive coordinator, and they've had a bottom 5 offense for the last 5 years. And so, Mike Tomlin doesn't have offensive play calling duties. He's giving all of his trust. He's giving all those duties over to Matt Canada. And if Mike Tomlin is vouching for this guy consistently, saying that, I have 100% faith, I back Matt Canada, what is the front office going to do? The front office is not going to fire Matt Canada. I mean, they're not going to talk to Mike Tomlin either, just based on his track record and how he stands and where he stands in that franchise. And so I believe Mike Tomlin is playing a huge part in this, in this whole problem, because he could have solved this issue a long time ago. If Mike Tomlin comes out and says that, Matt Canada is the issue, or he doesn't even have to come out and say that. He can just go up to the front office and go up to management and say, Matt Canada isn't our offensive coordinator, isn't the offensive coordinator that we need. We need to go in a different direction. We need to hire a new guy. The Steelers would do that in a heartbeat. Matt Canada would not have access the next day to the facility. And so Mike Tomlin right now he's playing a very, very big part in vouching for this guy. And I'm not too sure how long, Mike Tomlin is going to have control of this team, because I saw a clip earlier today about Clint Boswell. I believe this is when they came off their win against the Cleveland Browns on Monday night. And Matt Canada is walking into the locker room, and he's hugging one of the team members one of the staff members on the team. And they're celebrating, and Matt Canada walks off into the locker room. Clint Boswell is following him, right? He's like right behind him, but have a couple steps in between. He says, it wasn't because of you, we won, pretty much. And so, there's some sort of sense in the locker room right now where the players and every Steelers fan in the world, they're all understanding that Matt Canada is the true criminal in this whole operation. He's a true problem on this franchise. And at some point, whether it's going to cost Mike Tomlin his above 500 streak, or the Pittsburgh Steelers just kind of hit a bump in the road in the midseason where they're not able to do anything offensively. They're losing all these games. At some point, Mike Tomlin is going to have to come down and make this executive decision, or else people are going to start, having a conversation like this where, Mike asking themselves whether or not they believe Mike Tomlin should be on the hot seat. A lot of people right now aren't. Of course, they're going to say, it's an overreaction to say he should be on it. But when you look at it from this perspective, where he's consistently vouching for a guy that's holding the team back, everyone's going to be like, well, you're also a part of the problem. So that's kind of where I stand with this whole situation. I understand that Mike Tomlin is an elite coach. He's a great coach. That's a guy that has a winning record. And I understand that he has a lot of money in the bank. But at the end of the day, if you're not able to, make harsh decisions, as the head coach of this team, then at some point, people are going to have to scrutinize you. They're going to have to criticize you along with Matt Canada. And I don't think Mike Tomlin deserves any of the blame coming from the Steelers fans and all of the football fans across the world. Everyone knows what Mike Tomlin is about, but it's just that if he continues to keep on vouching for a guy like Matt Canada, they're going to go absolutely nowhere. And there's issues right now. They've been in a complete disappointment this whole entire season. They haven't been able to do anything offensively. The games that they've won, their defense has played lights out. It hasn't been anything from their offense. And so, that's going to be an issue that we're going to continuously talk about each and every episode. Are the Steelers going to end up fixing it now? Is this Matt Canada's last week? But as these weeks go on, of course, we'll go ahead and talk about the Steelers a lot more. But of course, let's go ahead and move on to our last overreaction and not an overreaction. Zach Wilson can lead the New York Jets to the playoffs. And I believe Big H, you should start us off with this one.
Overreaction. I feel like, right now, at this point, even though he had a great game against the Chiefs and they still lost, they still got to fix up on a lot of stuff. I feel like they got to involve Breece Hall more in the run game. They got to pick that up. They got to find Garrett Wilson, man. That's your elite receiver right there. Zach Wilson and him got to connect. You got to get more targets, man. Having 4 targets a game, 3 catches, it's not going to push, You got to get your big players, involved, and the offense got to start pushing. But I just don't see that happening. I feel like they're going to be fighting in games. They're going to win some close games. They're going to lose some close games, but playoffs. So right now it's too tough for them. They're missing one of the all-time great quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, and I don't think Zach Wilson will pick up that type of slaps that they need, or the type of offense that they need. But they'll be close though. I feel like they'll be like 2 spots out. Not 2 spots, but like a game or 2 games out. They'll be like right there. But I just don't see them, locking in the seat in the playoffs, especially with how the Bills are playing in the Dolphins, and then you got the Ravens and the Chiefs, and you got. Am I missing anybody else? You got the Chargers that are playing good. I mean,
Jaguars,
even Texans right there.
You got the Texans are right there, Colts right there.
Right
a lot of teams.
A lot of teams there. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, definitely an overreaction for me. I think, number one, of course, it was good to see Zach Wilson, play a lot better. I do think it was a little bit corny. I think it was Rodney Harrison trying to get a reaction out of Chris Jones.
That's some cornball shit right there. Even when Chris Jones shut that, he shut it down. But he's trash though. When y'all look at that film, he's still trash. I'm like, man, you You a grown ass man trying to shit on a kid on live television, for no reason too. So that was some cornball shit.
Yeah, I just think it was extremely unnecessary, man. I think, especially coming off a game where he actually played pretty well for himself, and the thing is, everybody in the world understands that Zach Wilson hasn't been playing great for the last season, and to start off this season since he's taken over. And then finally the one breaking point he has where he's starting to play good football. He's playing against, Patrick Mahomes. They're kind of going toe to toe. If anything, people should have uplifted him coming out of that game. Credit to Chris Jones, for absolutely shutting it down, saying that Zach Wilson's a good quarterback. Even Patrick Mahomes was talking with Zach Wilson post game and said, just got to hang in there. You're solid. You're getting better each and every week. And, it looks like, Zach Wilson does have a lot of support, from guys in the NFL. But, for the media to continuously bash him, even though he's having a great performance, that apology doesn't mean anything, because your true colors were shown, and so, but definitely an overreaction for me. I think, even though Zach Wilson played great, I think at the end of the day, the only way I see up for the New York Jets team is just the fact that it's just the way that if Breece Hall has to step up, he has to be the guy that they have to kind of change their whole identity, their whole offense. And it's actually good news, Breece Hall, they're taking off the training wheels off him this upcoming week in a perfect matchup against the Denver Broncos. And so, they're going to have the defense is always going to be great. I mean, I do think they did get a little bit robbed against the Kansas City Chiefs, but at the end of the day, I guess we'll just never know.
Record a new hit, then we making us a film. Wouldn't sign a deal if I got a couple mil. Been in the lab, now they throwing out deals. Me and now Lakes, now that's overkill.